Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I'm back with another super exciting extended 2-week forecast. This one is for May 30th all the way through to June 13th, 2022, the entire waxing phase of the lunar cycle beginning with the new moon in the sign of Gemini. This new moon is important for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, we are officially out of eclipse season, but that doesn't mean the eclipse energies are over with. We're actually having a major eclipse activation at the onset of this lunar month, which we'll be discussing in this video. In addition to this new moon is highlighting the energy of Jupiter, which is freshly transiting the sign of Aries and has just formed an exact conjunction with Mars, the ruler of Aries, in the sign of Aries. This is a highly enthusiastic, supercharged, ambitious, optimistic energy. However, it could have us jumping the gun in a lot of ways because the dispositor of this new moon is Mercury, and Mercury, as we all know, is still in retrograde. Not only is Mercury in retrograde, but it's slowing down to station in a T-square with Saturn and the lunar nodes, and it's in a conjunction with Algol, which is a fixed star that is associated with a lot of difficulties. Let's leave it at that for right now. And so even though we're going to mentally and internally be experiencing a lot of enthusiasm around new beginnings that are definitely going to be carried out over the course of the lunar month ahead, there is a risk of going too hard and too fast and jumping all in prematurely right now. And so while this new moon is a time for action taking and thinking about the actions that we are about to be taking and embarking on and initiating, it's also a period where you kind of need to take a step back, take a breather, and slow your roll. Proceed with caution, at least until the 5th or 6th of June. After that time, Mercury will be going direct. It'll still be making some tense aspects, but we'll have some forward momentum, and that tension will be lightening quite a bit. And so as we move into this lunar month, there's a mixed bag of energy. I've been saying that a lot lately because there's a lot of energy that feels really positive mixed up with a lot of energy that's really crunchy and really tense and causing a lot of chaos, both internally, both personally and externally, and like globally. And we're seeing that obviously play out kind of in the global sphere. And so again, just something to make note of here. So before we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, I just want to mention, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Heather. I'm a professional astrologer and an astrology teacher, and I specialize helping my students who are struggling to put all of the pieces together, learn to give meaningful, accurate astrology readings with confidence. The best way I do this is through the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which is my year-long, in-depth astrology program. You can find information and join the waitlist at the link down in the description below to get exclusive discounts, bonus tutorials, sneak previews, and much, much more. And for those of you who are just new to astrology in general, make sure you check out my free Astrology 101 PDF guide to help you navigate not only these videos that I'm doing here so you can know what the heck I'm talking about, but to start piecing together your own birth chart. Again, that's my free gift to you down in the description below. And the way that I structure these videos is that I always start with a 5 to 10 minute general overview of the energy for the next 2 weeks. Please don't skip this because it's going to provide an important context for the deeper interpretation we'll be getting into in your forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when I do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for your 2 weeks ahead. Your sun sign or your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign will be important to listen to as well, although this energy is more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of each video, I do a brief 2 to 3 minute overview of the next forecast, which will be for the waning phase of the lunar cycle and the full moon in Sagittarius. You won't want to miss this. This is an interesting one as well. All right, so kind of getting back into the energy of the next 2 weeks. So the first half of June looks kind of dicey. There is Mercury stationing to go direct, as I mentioned before, on June 3rd, squaring Saturn in a conjunction with the lunar nodes in opposition to the eclipse point for the blood moon total lunar eclipse we had in Scorpio just 2 weeks prior. and in an exact conjunction with Algol, which is a fixed star that is historically associated with kind of a demonic energy. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be bringing demons, but it's considered to be a difficult fixed star across the board, across many different astrological traditions. It seems to be the one that everyone seems to agree is problematic. And so we have Mercury stationing to go direct right there in that conjunction with Algol, which is a fixed star that's associated with kind of evil and you know, things like beheadings. Very literally, it used to be associated with beheadings, and you can even see how that plays out very literally with some charts that it's activated in. But you know, it's not always that. It's not always something as dire or as extreme. It could just be that it causes some sort of difficulty or some sort of lapse in character that could come up for you, or that could come up in your interactions with other people around that time period. And so just be extra wary of your surroundings, of the people you're interacting with, and of information that comes in or conversations that you have that just don't sit right with you, because there's something to make note of there. There's something to pay attention to. You could be finding yourself wanting to charge headfirst into that North Node energy in Taurus, but Mercury is slowing down and stationing. It's saying, hey, hesitate, pay attention, think this through. And Algol's kind of pointing out something where you might not necessarily want to take that path. You might not necessarily want to trust that information or that person or that situation. And so again, it's just something to have an awareness around, especially as Mercury stations while Saturn stations, with Mercury in square with Saturn. That's the energy where we're going to be feeling a lot of mental fear and mental blockages, hesitation. This is kind of an energy where when you see it in somebody's birth chart, this Mercury square to Saturn, typically you'll find that that person has some sort of fear around feeling unintelligent or feeling like they don't know what they're talking about, or being perceived by others as being unintelligent for some reason, usually stemming from early childhood things. It's a whole, you know, situation. But when you were seeing this in transit, that could be coming up for you personally, especially if you have a lot of fixed sign energy. So if you have a lot of energy in Taurus, in Scorpio, in Leo, or Aquarius, you might be feeling kind of slow or kind of dumb around something, like, oh my gosh, how did I not have that information? How did I not have that answer? And with that Algol energy in there, it's almost like you were taken, you know, you were kind of like taken for a chump, right? Like you were taken advantage of in some way. And you're like, how did I not think this through? How did I not perceive this in this way? How could I let myself be so dumb and to be, you know, taken on this path and blah, blah, blah. So again, something to be aware of, something to make note of, and just know that everything that comes up right now might not be exactly as you think it is or as you perceive it to be. Also, our brains are going to be thinking much more slowly because of that energy of Mercury in the slow, methodical, very grounded, fixed earth sign of Taurus. And with that slow energy of Mercury not even moving, and in a square with Saturn, which is a sign that has to do with longevity and delays and determination and delayed gratification, which is, you know, also stationed, also not moving. This is a time where some plans that we have might not be moving forward. Our brains might feel stuck, like we can't figure out the solution to a problem. We can't figure out the right answer to something along those lines. We might feel like we're not like at our top, like how I'm feeling right now trying to like word this with Mercury retrograding in my chart. We might not feel like we're at our peak of clarity when it comes to the way that we articulate our thoughts or the way that we're thinking about or perceiving a situation. And there could be some sort of fear or anxiety around that. And so, you know, if there's something really important that you need to discuss, maybe this is a time where if you can put it off, you should. If there's something really important that you need to write about, if there's a contract, if there's something really important, that anything involving communication, or that you really have to make a strong, solid decision around, again, if you can put it off, especially until after the 5th of June, then maybe this is a good time to do that, to push it back a little bit, because everything is sort of stalling out and stagnant around this time. And so we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, but I just wanted to mention that I do have a full video all about Mercury retrograde in Gemini and in Taurus floating around somewhere up here for you to review. It goes through the entire Mercury retrograde period, including the station, which is super important. It's highlighting that blood moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. Also watch that video because this is a major eclipse activation period that we're going through. So make sure that you have it, if you haven't already done so, that you watch those so you can get a full context, because there's a lot going on right now, you guys. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about for this 2-week period is that the Venus is going to be coming into a conjunction with the North Node, conjunction with Uranus, squaring Saturn. So it's activating the ongoing Saturn-Uranus square and the North Node conjunction to Uranus, which is going to be exact on June 31st. So this is kind of a prelude, but it's showing it's showing us what is coming up in maybe a little bit more of a gentle, more balanced, more harmonious way, because it is Venus and it is, you know, at home in the sign of Taurus. But it is still showing us something. It's showing us maybe where we need to head into a new direction with our relationships, where we need to change something on an interpersonal or on a physical level when it comes to our material possessions, when it comes to our money mindset or our money management. It could have to do very literally with the economy, especially given everything that's going on right now and what I discussed with a lot of you in the cosmic community around the energy of 2022, which seems to be playing out pretty readily right now. So all of these things could come up around this time period. And again, it's kind of like a prelude. This whole eclipse season was a big prelude. It's going to be ongoing throughout the year. It's just something to pay close attention to, because it's going to show you something that needs to change, but Saturn's still kind of getting in the way a little bit. Saturn will move on fully in 2023, and whatever it is that you really need to break free from, that you've been working very slowly on breaking free from since really the end of 2020, you'll fully be able to let go and just be done with it by the time we get into 2023. But you're moving in steps, you're moving in phases. There's something new coming up every now and again that's going to cause you to pivot, that's going to have to cause you to change something, that's going to bring a new blockage in or a new hurdle that you have to overcome, and that's okay. You're getting there. You're just not getting there at the pace that you might want to be. And so that's really what's going on for the next couple of weeks. And so I'm going to get into the forecast for the new moon in the sign of Gemini. But before we get into that, I just want to mention that my cosmic community has quietly reopened during the Mercury retrograde. And so you can get in for free for 7 days with my 7-day free trial, and actually join in on our new moon gathering for the new moon and the lunar cycle with the new moon in Gemini. That's going to be happening on Monday, the 30th, where we cover well, first off, we set our intentions together, which is super fun, but we also cover the forecast for the lunar month ahead. I do an electional astrology calendar to help you plan for the days that are going to amplify your success in whatever you want to accomplish. And I also choose a best electional chart to discuss for the month ahead. We do a lot of stuff in these gatherings, and there's a couple of different PDF handouts that you get to have with journal prompts, with forecasts, again, with an electional overview and calendar. And you'll get this all free of charge. So you can find that down in the link in the description below. You'll also get access to all of our past in-depth astrology webinars. There's webinars on everything from career and vocational astrology to astrology of psychic abilities and paranormal experiences to overcoming difficult astrology in transits. There's so many different things in there. So again, free for you, down in the description below, my gift to you. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries. All right, and so for Aries and for Aries rising, you guys are going to be feeling super enthusiastic, very talkative, and a lot more social than normal. Not that Aries is typically antisocial, but this is going to be a very a very outgoing energy for you. You might be talking a lot more than you normally even are. And so you might be a lot for some people right now, because it is going to be a very ambitious, very enthusiastic, very optimistic, and very driven energy for you right now and into the month ahead, but especially at the time of the new moon. While new moons are normally a time of like contemplation and introspection, and you will be doing a lot of thinking and internalizing, you're really going to want to put yourself out there this month. You're really going to want to do something, take action on something. You're going to want to maybe even connect with people in your neighborhood, in your community, start a new like educational pursuit, writing project, teaching project. This could also be a really great time to set intentions to purchase a vehicle or for some sort of short distance travel, or to make your commute a little bit better for you. However, there are going to be some financial blockages, hurdles, and roadblocks that you're going to have to account for and pay attention to. We have Mercury stationing to go direct in this T-square with Saturn and the lunar nodes, and that's going to be happening again on June 3rd. And so even though we're getting this like bump of enthusiasm and you're going to really want to rush into a lot of stuff, Aries, there is some sort of hesitation or some sort of fear or blockage that could be coming up for you right now, especially on a mental level or through maybe some sort of external communication, like a letter that comes in the mail or a bill that was unexpected, or maybe that was expected but you really weren't you know, thinking too much about or worried too much about, and it comes to pass and it's like, wow, that was more than I thought it was going to be, or this is going to put a bigger dent in my bank account, or this is just going to be something I have to consider more thoughtfully as a result. And so it doesn't mean that things won't move forward. It just means that this is a point of hesitation. And this is, you know, has been a point of maybe disruption in that area of finance already because of the eclipses and the Mercury retrograde, both of which I have videos for, so you can go back and watch that after this if you want to get more information there. But great energy this month for you to get started with something that really anything that you want to do because you want to do it, anything that you are passionate about, anything that you're enthusiastic about. This would be a really great time for Aries to get into some sort of new like health or workout routine or something like that, because you're just going to have so much energy and you're going to need a physical outlet for it as well as a mental outlet for it. And so that's what's going on for Aries. For Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, this new moon is happening in your second house of money. And so money's on your mind this month. This is a time to set really strong intentions for generating income, creating new opportunities for yourself when it comes to your resources, or making a major purchase or saving for a major purchase. There's something going on behind the scenes that's really lighting a fire under you when it comes to building material wealth, building possessions for yourself, or utilizing your money in a better way, maybe investing it in a better way. This could also be that there's something going on behind the scenes involving like hospitals or just kind of difficulties with things like rehabilitation centers, hospitals, those types of things. But also it could even be like there's some sort of charitable organization or charitable cause that you really want to be able to give to, and that's helping to light a fire under you. It's kind of like, wow, if I earn more money, if I do all these things, I could help these people or these animals or whatever it is that you want to help in this way. And so that could be a big motivating force. However, there are a lot of changes going on in your life right now, Taurus, and that could be hindering you from really getting some momentum going, especially at the first week of this lunar month. And so, you know, it's not time to jump the gun. It's not time to go all in. Even though this month there will be progress made and there will be a lot of ambition and enthusiasm, Mercury is stationing to go direct, Saturn stationing to go retrograde and square with Mercury. There's something going on here, like a hardship, a difficulty, some sort of situation or change involving your work, your public reputation, your boss, your relationship with people in positions of power and authority, or just on a personal level, a lot of the changes that you're going through that might be preventing you from going all in. Again, if you want to watch more or learn more about that, watch my video on the Mercury retrograde and the video on the solar eclipse, or it's not the solar eclipse, sorry, the blood moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, which happened on the 15th of May. Okay, and so for Gemini and for Gemini rising, this energy is all about you. It is your new moon in your sign. And so this is going to be powerful new beginnings, especially if you are a Gemini sun sign, because this is going to be your solar return. And happy birthday, Gemini. Solar returns that happen on the new moon are always years that you have a lot of major endings and a lot of pivotal moments that seed new beginnings that become much more important in years to come. This is a year that you'll look back on and be like, wow, so much changed for me in that year. And if that didn't happen, then A, B, C, D, and E wouldn't be happening now. So even though it might not be that you manifest everything all at once, it's like the seeds begin at this time. So it's super important. And even if this is hitting your ascendant or your moon, I mean, the same thing. When you're having a lunar return with the new moon, it's a month where you're going to have a lot of really powerful and important and impactful new beginnings that are a kind of milestone moment for seeding things for your year ahead, for like the next, subsequent lunar cycles. And if it's on your ascendant, a new moon on your ascendant is going to be a cosmic reset for you personally on all levels. And so, yeah, this is a great energy, but there's a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of ambition and drive and passion and excitement going on in your social houses, which is great for Gemini, especially after we had all of this energy in Taurus in your 12th house, pulling you out of the limelight, pulling you behind the scenes, causing a lot of frustration, maybe in the areas of health and work and just maybe even like rumors and things like that. And gossip could have been an issue for you, Gemini. If you haven't already done so, make sure you watch my video on the blood moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, because this is going to be an activation of that, and the Mercury retrograde, because this is the Mercury retrograde station. For you, though, this is going to be less hesitation and more of a good energy to jump all in and to really start a lot of new things this year. It's kind of like embracing a new you, embracing a new path in all areas of life, but especially embracing new friendships, new connections, new relationships, throughout this lunar cycle. The energies that are causing kind of disruption and hesitation and kind of pulling you away from that are causing problems in the areas of health, work, daily routines. It could be that there's like an ethical or moral dilemma that's preventing you from moving forward with something, or there's something going on truly behind the scenes that's pulling you into a period of isolation and inner work and contemplation. That'll end by the time that this lunar month is done for. So all of those things are going on right now, but for the most part, good energy for Gemini. Okay, and for Cancer rising, this is a new moon in your 12th house. So this is you getting prepared for the cosmic reset of the sun in your sign, Cancer. This is going to be a very internalized energy. This is a time for you to truly go inward, to truly do some soul searching, to spend some time resting, to spend some time away from the world, out of the limelight, doing less. This is a really great time for you to set intentions to focus on your spiritual practices, to focus on meditation or any sorts of, spirituality or creativity or anything that's going to help develop your inner world versus your outer world. This is a really great time to maybe even take a vacation where you're kind of doing it more for your maybe like your health physically, but more for your spiritual health and well-being. It's kind of like you've reached maybe your breaking point with something and you're like, I need to just pull away and take some time for me. But this could also be a really great time where a lot of things are brewing for you when it comes to your work and your career and your bigger goals and plans for the way that you want to make an impact on the world, kind of in the greater sense at large. This could also be where there's something going on where you're getting recognized for something when it comes to your career and your public reputation, or you're getting a new opportunity that you feel like you have to jump in on all at once. Just know that it's not time to embrace it just yet. Mercury is still stationing to go direct. Saturn is stationing to go retrograde at the start of this lunar month. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be some obstacles, some unforeseen obstacles that could come up that are not necessarily work related, but could prevent you or distract you from jumping all in on those opportunities. If you haven't already done so, make sure you watch my video on the blood moon lunar eclipse that happened on May 15th, because this is an activation of that, and you watch my video on the Mercury retrograde. Okay, and so for Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leo, this energy is happening in your 11th house. Lucky Leo, this is a much nicer energy than what you've been dealing with throughout the eclipse season and what you're still dealing with Mercury stationing to go direct in a conjunction with Algol, with the North Node, squaring Saturn in your 10th house. That's happening at the same time. But luckily, this new moon is giving you kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, or kind of a shift in perspective. And so it's kind of like leaning on your friends or doing something social this month is going to help you to kind of pull yourself out of a funk, or to help you to see, you know, a more optimistic viewpoint or vantage point of the situations that are unfolding in your life. Because right now, Leo, you're undergoing a massive period of change, especially if you are an N degree Leo with your sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees. That means that, you know, everything right now in your life is up for change, chaos, disruption, challenge, review, but also, you know, it's a time for new beginnings. It's a time for you to embrace a new path, a new way of kind of doing things, especially when it comes to your career and your public reputation. And so while you're having some challenges, maybe interpersonally, while you're having some big changes going on with your career or with your family life, or even on a personal level, this is a time where you can lean on your friends and you're going to have a lot of fun. They're going to help you to shift your perspective on things. This could even be a really great time to travel with a group or travel to visit friends this month, to set an intention for that. Just make sure you do it after June 5th, because we do have all that dicey energy at the first week of this lunar month. But other than that, you know, things are going to start to lighten up after this month and throughout this month for you, Leo. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgo, this new moon is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. This is a really great time to set intentions for new beginnings when it comes to your work and what it is that you want to be doing out in the world. There's something deeper. There's like a deeper passion that is hidden below the surface, that's really connected to what you truly need, want, and desire, that is propelling you forward into a new path, a new beginning. It doesn't necessarily have to be career. If you're not working, it could just be you wanting to make a bigger impact out in the world. You know, this is also about the way that the work that you do, or whatever it is that you do that impacts the world at large, and it's about the way other people perceive you. And so that could be something that you're thinking about, or the legacy that you want to leave behind after your working years, especially with this connection to Jupiter and Mars in the 8th house, which is the house of inheritance. Maybe you're thinking about putting together a will. Maybe you're thinking about doing some sort of trust. Maybe you're thinking about what you want to leave for your children or for generations to come. And, you know, something kind of bigger, those bigger questions, those bigger goals, those bigger ambitions that go beyond, you know, your physical life on this planet. And that could be something that, you know, for you is actually exciting to think about. It's not thinking about it in this sort of dark, morose sort of way. It's thinking about it in like, wow, if I go out and do this right now, think about how this could impact my children, or, you know, my grandchildren, or whoever. And so, yeah, that's something that you could have kind of on your plate right now. This could also be a great energy for Virgos who are in any sort of healing art, but especially if you do physical or not physical, emotional, psychological types of healing that goes a little bit deeper than just the physical. Although, you know, physical healing practices could go well too. There's a little bit of challenge there though. But if you are like a psychologist or something like that, this could be a great energy for this month for you to start something new with that. There is going to be some blockage and hesitation though. There's some sort of delay or hardship or burden that you've been experiencing in your day-to-day work routines, your day-to-day experience, your day-to-day reality that's really preventing you from embracing what you want to be doing out in the world. That's going to continue on for at least the first couple of weeks this month. And I mean, it'll be activated a little bit on and off throughout the month, but it's not going to be as challenging as it was in May, at least after the first week of June. There is something that you really need to consider. There's a hesitation or a blockage coming from really your integrity. It's coming from the area of your beliefs, your perception of reality that's framed by your religious ideologies, your philosophical value systems, your morality, where it's like, I really can't keep doing this every single day. This does not align with my integrity and with what I stand for and with who I really am out in this world. And so it could cause you to think about maybe taking on an additional educational pursuit or something like that to change something. But again, go back to the videos that I did on the Scorpio blood moon eclipse on the 15th, and also look at Saturn in Aquarius, the video I did there, because that's going to give you a lot of information about this as well, along with the Mercury retrograde video. There's a lot going on this week, so I'm just going to direct you to all the videos. Libra and Libra rising. So for Libra in the sign of, so for Libra and Libra rising, this is actually a really nice one. So this is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of adventure and travel and connection with people in foreign countries and learning and experience and higher wisdom. This could be a really great time to set intentions to start something new involving a teacher or teaching or a new educational pursuit or a travel plan or a foreign connection. This could also be a really great time to embark on a journey in partnership with somebody else, because that Jupiter-Mars energy has you feeling so fired up and so passionate in your relationships right now. And even if you don't go on a journey in relationship, you might come back from the journey in relationship later on this month if that's something that's applicable to you. This is also an energy where there's some sort of challenge or difficulty or rethinking of things when it comes to your financial situation because of an unexpected blockage, hurdle, new opportunity, something that causes you to have to change direction or shift your course when it comes to your investments, your joint finances, your insurance policy, your inheritance, taxes, something along those lines. It could also just be that you have a lot of fear and anxiety around embracing something that you're truly and deeply passionate about, and that's kind of preventing you from moving forward with something. But for the most part, that shouldn't hinder you when it comes to what's going on with this, new moon in the 9th house energy. That's pretty nice for you, especially if you are a Libra, sun, moon, or rising anywhere from, I would say 0 to 15 degrees because of that Jupiter-Mars energy. This is a really passionate energy. This is a very romantic energy. This is a very adventurous energy. I love this for you, Libra. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. So for Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your 8th house, which is, the house of things like taxes, joint finances, debt, other people's money, inheritance. Sometimes when you have a new moon like this, especially when it's aligned with Jupiter, money can unexpectedly come from an outside source, or you can set intentions for something that's going to generate more, like, I don't want to call it passive income, but like investment income. So income that's coming in through something that is not being made with your own hands or, your own brain or something like that. It's like, hey, I'm investing this money and it's going to give me a return. Or, I'm taking out an insurance policy and later on that might actually benefit you in a big way. This could also be, something starting for you or initiating some sort of insurance payout or inheritance or something like that. This is also a great month for Scorpios for both physiological and psychological and emotional healing. You could set intentions for a powerful healing, not like, powerful, just powerful healing. I guess I don't need a second word for that. Physically, this is a great time if you want to get fit, if you want to start working out, if you want to do just more physical activity because you're going to have the energy for it. And psychologically, this is a time to go deep, to dig things up, and to heal. And so I love this energy. Just know that at the start of this month, there's still some really complicated energy going on involving your home, your family, your property, that could put a damper on things and be a little bit of a downer. There's also going to be some hesitation, complications, rethinking things in contract with somebody else or in agreement with somebody else or in a relationship, especially involving your home, family, and property. A lot of changes going on right now. So again, if you haven't already done so, watch the video on the blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, as well as the video on the Mercury retrograde to get more information on that. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for Sagittarius, this new moon is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of relationship. If you've been focusing a lot on you, your needs, your wants, your desires, your passions, your direction, all of the above, this is a time where you're going to be focusing a little bit more on your partner this month. And this is a really great time to set intentions to experience more joy and more romance and more fun and more play in partnership with somebody else. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it looks like it probably could be. This could also be, if you're somebody who is wanting to have children, this could be a really great time to set things in motion in your partnership for that. And that would be a really great, thing that you could do. This is also where you're just going to be having a lot more fun this month, especially after this first week of the month where things are really tense and really tight. And so, yeah, it's a time where you're going to get to experience more joy and to do so with other people in relationship. There's still some tension. The blockages that you're experiencing right now when it comes to your career, your work, especially the day-to-day reality of your work routines and things like that, those are mostly mental blockages. It's almost like your brain is not thinking clearly about the steps you need to take and the things you need to do with your work. And it's like you're making dumb mistakes because of that. And then you feel like you're not intelligent or you don't know what you're doing, but you do. It's just right now is not the time to push and to overthink things when it comes to your work. It's the time right now to kind of be in maintenance mode, all the while embracing the new path that you need to embrace as much as you can, but without really, I don't know how to explain this properly because Mercury's still in retrograde right now. You want to embrace a new path. You need to embrace a new path, but there's also a lot of reflecting and revisiting that you need to do when it comes to what you already know, what you already learned, what you already have mastered before you jump in and do all the new things. So it's kind of like embracing the new path by using your old knowledge and your old skill set, if that makes sense. And so if you haven't already done so, make sure you watch the videos on the Mercury retrograde and the blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. That's going to give you a lot more information about what's coming up for you in these next 2 weeks. Okay, and so for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. So for Capricorn, this new moon is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. This is a time to set intentions for all of the above. This could also be that you're really wanting to spend more time at home. You have a lot of really ambitious, really exciting projects that involve your home, your family, your property, real estate. It could be a big renovation project or a move or just wanting to expand your family. Whatever it is, there's a need to create better habits and better routines on a day-to-day basis with your health maybe, but also with your work. Looks to me like it's going to be a lot about work-life balance and focusing less on stressing out about money and finances so you can really enjoy your family life, so you can really enjoy your home life, so you can enjoy the precious time that you have with, the people that you care about the most, the people at your roots. This could also be you setting intentions for a new work-related project, but again, keeping in mind that you want to create a better balance because you have so many things that you're enthusiastic about and wanting to do behind the scenes. For Capricorns, there is some hesitation, stagnation, complications, difficulties, especially around fears involving finances, resources, and children, or your friends and your group associations. Maybe what your friends are going to think about what you're spending your money on or your financial situation. But I think this is more, especially for those of you who have children, where it's kind of like you're overthinking things when it comes to certain financial constraints. That's going to lessen. You're going to have a lot less fear around that. And even if you're not having fear because of children, there's still some sort of there's still some sort of fear going on here or some sort of energy where your mind is blocking you from actually, I don't want to say something that sounds so cliche, but like achieving abundance, right? Working toward manifesting the abundance that you truly want on that physical level. And so that's going to release, but that first week of June, things are a little dicey. It's also not the time to jump all into something just yet. If you haven't already done so, watch my Mercury retrograde video, watch the blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio video, because this is an activation of that. And you should have a really good picture of what's going on in these next couple of weeks. All right, so for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. So for Aquarius, this new moon energy is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of joy and fun and happiness and play. And this is a great new moon energy for Aquarius. And this is going to lighten the load quite a bit because you've had some dicey energy. Oh my goodness. With this, especially last eclipse, the blood moon eclipse, especially if you're an Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, you were hit really intensely by this. This was a lot of stress, a lot of strain, a lot of burden, a lot of change. A lot of letting go of certain aspects of your career, certain things that you valued kind of in terms of your impact on the world, making some changes involving your home, your place of living, your property, your family dynamic, having difficult conversations come up even with family members. you know, figuring out who you can trust and maybe who you can't trust in the area of home and family. And also you've been going through the cosmic reset where you've been feeling the weight of the responsibilities that you've created for yourself and letting go of those burdens that no longer serve you and letting go of any conditioning that is preventing you from being who you truly are. That's a lot. That's a big thing to be going through. And so that's still going on and it's still being super activated through the first week of this lunar cycle. So just know that that's still there, that pressure is still there, but this energy of the new moon is bringing in joy. It's bringing back joy. It's bringing back fun. It's bringing back play. It's giving you the opportunity to do what you love to do because you love to do it. And I say go for it, especially if that involves short travel, especially if that involves connecting with your community, and especially if that involves learning a new skill, something fun, something active, something that you're really passionate about. This is a great month for that for Aquarius. All right, and then for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So for Pisces, this new moon is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, real estate. And so this could be you starting something new in all of those areas. Maybe you're wanting to set intentions to move. Maybe you're wanting to set intentions to have better connections with your family. This could actually be a great month to set some intentions for a real estate investment or to sell a property and earn some money. Those are all really great things. Or to make a big important purchase that involves your family or your home or your place of living or your property. You're going to feel really enthusiastic about that, especially at the start of this month. Just know that the timing might not be quite right. It's better for Pisces than for the other signs, but Mercury's still in retrograde. It's still stationing. It's still stationing while Saturn's stationing and square with Saturn. It's with Algol. So the first week of the month, that is a time to take a step back and to not rush forward into things. Proceed with caution. That being said, Pisces, you have probably one of the best energies of any of the signs for this new moon. And so you're going to be, I think you're going to be having some good times at home with your family or financially. You might have a new financial opportunity that comes in and brings abundance. And this new moon could be an activation of that as well, you getting started with it. All right, and so that is my forecast for all 12 signs. Thank you guys for watching that. So in my next video in 2 weeks, or my next forecast 2 weeks from now, we're going to be discussing the new moon, the full moon in Sagittarius, and the final 2 weeks of the month, which are a lot nicer than these first 2 weeks because we don't have all that crazy stationing, retrograde, stuck energy that we're going to be dealing with right now. But the full moon in Sagittarius is kind of a weird one. So finally, we have all this forward momentum going, but this full moon is going to bring so much confusion and so much disorientation. It's a mutable energy in the sign of Sagittarius. It's in a T-square with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. There's a lot of nebulous just strangeness with this full moon where something's coming to a culmination, but it comes to a culmination in a way that's weird and it's not what we expected and we're not really sure what to make of it. This is also where we're going to have a lot of confusion around, yes, this is happening, but now what do we do? Like, what does this actually mean? Now that we see this, now that this is happening, now this is unfolding, like, what do I actually do with this? There could also be some deception coming to light, but again, not really seeing the full picture clearly, even though it's being illuminated. Or it could be like lies coming out into the open, or people just outright lying, and that could be part of this full moon too. So there's a lot of, I would just say that this full moon in the sign of Sagittarius is very confusing. And so we'll leave it at that until we get into that forecast 2 weeks from now. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you share this with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I share with you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.